Constitution stand. Promises carved in sacred stone. A republic built but not alone. Two books guide us when we roam. The word and the law, sacred and free. One for the soul, one for the dream. They hold us up, they let us be. The Bible and the Constitution, you and me.
We the people must achieve these objectives, right? It says, and this is right from the preamble, as you guys should be familiar, we the people of the United States, in order to, so in other words, it's our job to achieve these 6 objectives. We are the primary ones who are responsible for making sure this happens. And that is why we've established this Constitution to make sure that our servants are also pursuing these objectives, that we are ultimately responsible for enforcing them, right? So that is our, so that is what it means, as we recall, right? The ability and authority to make a specific outcome happen. Well, a specific outcome means objective, right? Same thing. So power is necessary to make those, to realize those objectives. Okay. So that means that what we need, in order to achieve those objectives, in order to enforce the Constitution, we need to generate the power necessary to realize the 6 objectives of the Constitution, by enforcing it and all laws that are in keeping with it. So let's talk about the nature of power a little bit more, because we're gonna use that. We need to understand it a little bit better than what we did the first time. So originally we described it as a formula: the strength, endurance, intelligence, knowledge, and authority, right? It's the product. But we're going to change that a little bit in order to make a very important point. And that point is that these 5 variables are not all the same. So authority is much more important than strength. In other words, so let me use this example below. If we double our strength over here, that says 2S, then we double the power, because instead of S, it's 2S, right? So that just, and the whole product is just double what it was before. But if we were to double our endurance instead of our strength, increasing our endurance by double, well, then our power increases by 4 times. And so that's why I put the power of the powers. So it's strength to the first power, endurance to the second power, which means that endurance has a bigger effect on power than strength does. Intelligence is even more important, because that's the third power. So if you increase your intelligence by double it, then you get 8 times the amount of power, and 16 for knowledge and 32 for, so without getting into the quantification aspects of it, the point being that strength, if all things being equal, we should focus on increasing our authority, to increase our power faster, and then our knowledge, then our intelligence, then our endurance, and finally our strength. That should be the, if we have enough strength, we shouldn't keep creating more strength. It's just not. So now let's put it all together, and we've got our updated formula for power. Now we're going to look at this on a personal level first. So what does all this mean on a personal level? So as an individual, how do these 5 factors show up in your existence as an individual, and actually demonstrate the ability to generate power? But all these things come into play. And then finally, your strength is associated with doing. Again, there's the action word, right? So your ability to do something correlates to your strength. So those are the 5 words: willing, thinking, sensing, feeling, and doing, that relate to your. If you can't do something, you don't have the power, right? If you're feeling tired and you don't have the energy, or you're scared and you don't want to do it because you're scared, or you're angry, it's whatever, that's going to influence your ability to apply your strength, right? And if you're not able to see what's going on or hear what's going on, you're going to not have the intelligence that you need. And if you don't know how to think about the problem, you don't understand the principles or how to apply them, then your knowledge needs to be some work on, right? And if you lack willingness, right, then that's obviously really important. That's more of a choice, deciding, in some cases. So on the collective level, what does power look like? These 5 factors. Starting with authority. Intelligence, we have information and communications, media, intelligence agencies, which actually do a lot more than just intelligence, unfortunately. We're going to tie all this together to show how we build power on a personal level and on a collective level. Both are very important to understand if we're going to enforce our Constitution and do our mission. And finally, strength on a collective level in a republic. How many people do you got? The more people you have, the stronger you are, right? But granted, strength isn't everything. As we know, it's the least important factor of all in the power equation. So, but nonetheless, it does matter. Now, there's one thing missing from this expanded view of power. Just one more thing that is the final level of complexity that we must contend with if we're really going to where we want to get to, where we're actually, and again, this is if we're serious about enforcing the Constitution, achieving our mission, and glorifying Christ. We can only do that with His power. And the only way we can access His universe starts to move in our favor, what called providence, whatever you want to call it. Our founders called it providence, right? And that's not a city in Rhode Island. Yeah, I just made that up. Very funny. But you see, so the only way to find out where we are, whether we're unwilling or willing, consciously or unconsciously, is to try it and see what happens.
Great. It has depreciated, sadly, but it can be made great again. But it's up to us. More specifically, it's up to you, each one of you. So I want to encourage you as you go forth. I want to thank you for all you've done, and I really want to thank you for what you're going to do, because I believe in every one of you. I love you. I care for you, and we're here to support and help, but all of us have to take action. So let's do it. And thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Have a good evening, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Bye-bye. Thanks, everybody.
1776 wasn't a year. It was a decision. In the dirt, sweat in the sun, no safety net, nowhere to run. They didn't wait for perfect skies. They read the truth and chose their side. Ink on paper, blood in the ground. No applause when the hammer came down. They knew the cost would come due quick, but a spine stays straight or it bends and splits. They didn't stand for comfort. They didn't kneel for peace. They chose a harder road. On their feet, remember 1776, when comfort wasn't king, when backbone beat convenience and truth was everything. Remember 1776, before we bowed to ease, before we traded liberty for guarantees. Time rolled on, the chains got clean, muskets traded for glowing screens. No marching boots on the shore, just paperwork behind closed doors. Soft control in a velvet glove of safety sold as something to love. Little by little, line by line, we signed away what once was mine. Freedom fades when we forget. It isn't safe, it isn't said. Remember 1776, when comfort wasn't king, when backbone beat convenience and 76 don't live in museums. It lives in discipline. And telling the truth when it costs you. And standing firm when it would be easier to fold. You don't need a battlefield. You don't need a war. You just need the courage to say no.